What's up, guys? We're Bullowa Bassin, and today we're bringing you a new video.
Yep.
So.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about our top 3 favorite lures and why they're our favorite. All right.
And all right, so I'm just going to start it right off.
Right into it.
So we like to fish lakes, small ponds, and really we're local with our fishing.
Mm-hmm.
So we know kind of what the fish like, and from a few years of experience fishing them, I've come to the conclusion that the big fish in our local lakes love going after the crawfish, or the in this case I like to throw a bandito bug. And the way I like to rig this up is I take the bandito bug and I Texas rig it on a hook with a bullet weight, and I just put the bullet weight right above it, right on the hook, and I just pop it along the bottom, and it brings in some big ends. I mean, it's
a realistic looking craw, man. I mean Googan Squad. This ain't a promotion, but they did it.
They stepped up with this. I love their baits, and they're cheap, which is really cool.
Yeah.
It's
not crazy
and I mean.
money.
Remember we went to Silvermine that one time, and I caught my PB off a setup this, but I had a lizard on instead of a lizard. But still,
it was
I'm fishing 30 feet of water,
lizard.
And I pulled up a 4-pounder. So, you want to go?
Yeah. So I'll be starting with mine. So my number 1 is probably the Rebel Poppin. So I'm a big fan of topwater fishing, and so when I started fishing, I was experimenting with a lot of different baits, and I found that the one that caught the most fish for me was this guy. So. I found that when I used Lunkerhunt poppers and other brands, it would be some days were good, some days were bad. This is pretty consistent. This always gets bites, and you could fish it any type of way you want. You could fish it fast, slow, pop it 3 times, twice, and fish will just clobber it. They love it.
What do they go for price-wise?
I think it's $4 or $5.
And you know what? For that price, it's worth it.
Yeah, it's $3.99.
It's a topwater. You're not getting snagged on anything.
No, you're not.
Except big ones.
Exactly. So this is good for shallow water flats or shallow water structure. This is not going to get snagged on any brush. So yeah, what she said, you can find it cheap on Amazon.
We got our manager in the back here,
right
Sam, our manager.
Yeah.
That's not.
She's doing a lot of work, holding the camera. We got a tripod, but so I love using this whenever the water's not choppy, basically. All right, Nick. Number 2.
So let's see. What do I got here? All right, I'll just go right into this. This is one of the most unusual baits I use. It's not just a normal poppin' frog. I first bought this bait. Well, this is his. I got broken off with my original one.
Mm-hmm.
My dad actually picked this bait out for me when we first went to Walmart. I think I was picking up a pack of worms, and he said it looked silly and I should try it. So one day we were at one of our favorite lakes, Silvermine, and he's setting up the boat, and I'm on the shore popping this thing around. And what it does is, you could either pop it or you could reel it like a spinner, and the back legs kicking up water, and it
makes this sound. It's a really it's just, you can tell it's so tempting. It looks
ridiculous.
It's a distinct sound basically. But
I've caught 2 of my personal best pickerel off this lure, and again, it looks like a ridiculous lure. It's a Lunkerhunt. It is pretty pricey. I mean, what is it? I think I paid $10 for it.
Yeah, I think it's $8.99.
It's worth it for the price though.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to try some new things. Again, bought it as a joke and ended up being one of my favorite and go-to frogs.
Yeah.
So I love fishing frogs.
Another thing with this, I noticed, I use this too sometimes. That 3rd trailer hook, when fish bite it half effortly, and they get that back end, this hook makes such a huge difference. Any type of bait that has, or especially a frog that has that, you're gonna get all your fish. Your hookup ratio is gonna be really good with that.
This also, it spins with the bait, and it's really cool because. All right, you want to go show your next one?
Yeah, I'll show my next one.
Kind of choked there.
So my number 2 is probably going to be the Yum Dinger. So these worms are awesome. I use these basically around any type of structure. I flip it, pitch it around there, and I like to wacky rig it. Wacky style has caught me the most fish, and it has probably the most natural looking action. I also use a Texas rig. Don't get me wrong. A weighted Texas rig or an unweighted Texas rig is good, but I use a weightless wacky rig. If it's muddy water, I'm using black and blue. If it's clear water, I'm using watermelon red flake. They catch fish all the time.
Oh yeah.
9 times out of 10, 99% of the time.
I mean, this is that's a go-to bait when you're showing up at a new lake. You don't know. I mean, come on, it catches everything from bluegill to catfish.
Exactly. It's a universal bait, and also when the fish don't want that big of a profile, I like to go finesse style, and I use the Zoom trick worm. So this is like, it's got like a little chartreuse tail. If you buy worms and they don't have a chartreuse tail, I suggest you buy dye for this, and you can just dip it. It comes in like a bottle. Yeah, you could buy. So yeah, these are really good when the bass are a little finicky, but I love worms.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've seen. What do you got here? These?
Yeah.
I met a guy actually at one of the trout places we go. He cuts these in half, and he literally trout fishes with these, and it works.
Yeah.
So they're good for anything.
Yeah.
My final lure I'm going to show you today is another one of those questionable lures that my friend told me about. Now, my friend, he doesn't fish a lot. He's fished a few times in his life, but he always talked about the Storm. It's a weird bit. Actually, let me get the name of fish like right here. The Storm Wild Eye Live Crappie, and it's a soft plastic bait, and it's a swim bait. But when he first told me about this, note that I didn't take his word for it because he's only fished like twice. I mean, what is he really going to know about it? But I went upstate with him. He only had his tackle. I didn't bring mine, so I was using it. And the amount of fish I caught off this lure was amazing. It was outstanding how many fish I caught off this. I mean...
How many would you say you caught? I know it was a lot. It was like...
And
it was like one after another, too, right? It was like...
I mean, it was a small pond, but no one else caught... I mean, I caught about 5 in my first 10 minutes. Yeah. 10, 20 minutes there. I caught a decent amount. They weren't big, but they were still biting like crazy. Very active. And it's just the way the tail kicks and the swimming movement it makes, it just brings them in. I mean, we went a few months ago to to our favorite lake, the Bullowa, hence our name.
Hence our name.
We went up there, and he wasn't catching anything off a spinner. I pitched one of these in, the bluegill version of this. I pulled in, I don't know how many, I'd say like 4 or 5.
Yeah, not going to lie, I was being stubborn about it, but I ended up switching to one of those.
He switched over.
He was just getting all the fish.
He switched over, and he got
skunked.
Go-to bait for deep water.
Yeah.
Deep, shallow water. I like to throw it deep water, though. It really works.
Yeah.
All right, so what do you got for us?
That's an effective bait. So for my third and final, I'm going to go with the spinnerbait. This is like a fire tiger, I think it's called. But when it comes down to spinnerbaits, I think they're the best when the water's like a little choppy. Just from personal experience, like windy days where the water's got some chop on it. I fish them, basically I let them drop until you can't see it anymore. Once you cannot see the spinner anymore, then you stop and then you start a slow retrieve. I don't even twitch it. I just find that when you do a steady slow retrieve is when the bass hit it. So again, this is like a structure bait, but it also can cover open water very fast. So if you're trying to figure out a specific pattern that these bass are in, you're struggling, you're off to a slow start, tie on a spinner bait and just let it rip through the water. It'll cover some ground fast, and maybe you can figure something out with it. I don't know what he's doing. What are you doing? Oh, okay.
All right, we're gonna switch it up a little bit. We're not gonna show our poles. So I think you should start us off with your pole, what you use.
All right, so this is probably my favorite pole. It's new too. So this is a bait casting reel. As you can see, this is a Abu Garcia Pro Max. I think it's $99.99. The best deal is actually on their website if you're gonna buy it. This is great for basically anything. I use it, mostly for top water, but basically you can tie on anything. And it uses basically 10 to 14 pound line. So I got 10 pound monofilament on it right now. Here's another tip. If you're going to be fishing topwater baits, which I do a lot, and Nick does too, you cannot use fluorocarbon because it sinks. That's been our biggest mistake. You have to use monofilament because the bass won't see it, and I just find it has, it stays up on the water, so it has more success.
So I'll show you my pole. I'm not a bait caster guy. I mean, I own one. It's back there. It's a $60 GX2, but I love spinning rods. Now, I actually just recently picked this one up. It is a LURES Mach 2. It's their speed stick. Price range I think goes for like $150 at Dick's. I got a pretty good deal, $120, a few dollars off, but still. It's a 7-foot medium action rod. I think it's like an 11 ball bearing system, if I'm not mistaken, the reel. 10 bearing system. Right now I got 8 pound line tied onto it, and like Johan said, with that line lets to sink. I go with topwater sometimes, but most of the time I'm throwing chatterbaits, worms, crawfish, whatever. Right now I got this tied on. This is just a placeholder. But yeah, this is my pole. This is my go-to. This is my baby. That's really all I can say about this.
He loves it.
It's beautiful. But I think that should wrap up this video.
I think that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, so out of all these baits, which one is your favorite?
My
Out of all the
favorite
ones
between
that we
all of ours, I'd go with the crawfish because you could go anything. You catch anything.
I
off
figured you'd say that. Yeah, you're a
big
big
bandito.
craw guy. What's caught me the most fish?
Yeah,
I would say that.
so out of the 6 lures we showed you, or what do we got? 7 lures today. These are our top 2.
Rebel Poppinar and Googan Bandito Bug.
If you're just getting into fishing, I recommend going with some of the soft plastics, worms, something that takes, a little effort to use. I mean, popper takes time to get into.
Yeah.
These definitely work. Anyone can catch fish off these.
Easy to fish.
It's little to no technique with these. Little pop, you gotta learn gotta fish a little bit, get that experience for that. But over time, you'll develop it, and you'll definitely like it.
All right, so hopefully you guys found these tips and tricks helpful, and these lures. I hope you guys try these out. Just from our experience, obviously people have different experiences. They try out different lures, but from our perspective, these are the best, especially if you're starting out. So hopefully,
all right, I think
you
that
guys
wraps
found
it
this
up.
helpful. This wraps it up. So
have a good day.
Thanks
Remember,
for watching.
Catch biggins.
Bullowa Bassin.